All right, Celtics live post-game after a loss that really just makes us want to kick ourselves out here. You know, the Celtics team, yes, they're missing some guys. They're missing a bunch of guys, beaten, bruised, quarantined, whatever, injury, health and safety protocol. But so is this Clippers team here. This Clippers team literally without their three best players, Paul George, Kawhi, as we know, and then also Reggie Jackson, who before being out was red hot for them. And the Celtics still manage to find a way to lose. And yes, they had that game at times and whatnot, but they find a way to lose in like a just stomach-wrenching fashion. We have to address the fact that they went from three tonight. They went 4 of 42 from three, which I don't know if you guys are good at math at home, but that's 9.5%. If the Celtics kicked 42 balls at the hoop, I kind of feel like more than 9.5% of them would actually go in. So, yeah, you know, if someone would ask me, hey, is that good? I would say, no. And I don't think anyone would. That was just, that was terrible. We'll get into all that tonight, guys, on the post-game show here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new, like the video, everything like that. We'll get into it. And if I see the chat building up already, a lot of frustration from Celtics fans out here. But if you guys want to skip the chat, if you want to support the show, make sure to drop a super chat and skip the line. And speaking of super chat, I do want to, and I already DM'd you about this, but I had to say it on stream. We got a super chat last stream from my man AC, and I did not. I failed to acknowledge it. So this is a big time shout out to my man Andy and Ella. If you guys are watching tonight, thank you very much for the donation last stream, and I hope you guys are, you know, enjoying your holiday time here. But let's get right into the box score, and then we'll get to some of the chat here. Box score: Jaylen Brown 30 points, 8 rebounds. He was 1 of 13 from three, but we can say that about every single player tonight in terms of how bad they were from three. Al Horford 9, 10, and 8. I kind of liked what I saw at Al Horford. I feel like he kind of cooled off, but he looked like he was playing all right basketball. 16 and 14 from Robert Williams, and this number is the crazy thing right here. 14 boards from him, but 10 offensive rebounds. And then other than that, no one really did anything. But I do want to give a shout out where it is due here. Grant Williams, the Celtics made 4 threes. Grant Williams had 4 of them, or 2 of them of the 4. 2 of 3 from Grant tonight. He had 6 points, but and we'll give one. This is not for Grant. I know we just talked about Grant. That's for the Celtics team, the womp womp. But let's get into some of the chat here. MP saying the Celtics are so good. They are just so good. Aren't the Celtics just so good? Nice little use of the soundboard there, huh? Xavier's saying, I'm sorry. What was that? Steven saying, haven't ever seen a team shoot that bad from three. I don't want to hear everyone say trade the Jays until this roster gets fixed. Yeah, that was a team sort of effort to shoot that badly. 13 threes from Jaylen, 7 from Al, 3 from Langford, 5 from Pritchard, 5 from Jay Rich, 3 from Grant Williams, 3 from Broderick Thomas, and 3 from Sam Hauser. Like, everybody shot poorly. This is not I mean, Jaylen Brown did play tonight, but this isn't like, oh my God, look at this. Like, no, this was just an overall absolute crack performance from three. Like, I don't even know. AC is in the building. He says 4 for 41. If you take 40, and it was 42, but if you take 41 threes, you should at least make 5 of them by accident. Yeah, like you could close your eyes and probably throw at least 42 balls at the hoop, and maybe 5 of them would go in. Like, it was crazy tonight. Mitch is saying, we stink. Icy's saying, those fans who say Tatum made us lose, look at this. We need him now. We would have won both games if he was playing. I mean, it's hard to argue that right now, right? Like, it is hard to be like, you know what? Jason Tatum makes us worse when now he's out. And yes, this team's obviously played well before, I guess, when Jason Tatum's been out or something like that, right? Like, they seem to do that with everyone. When Jalen's out or when they're undermanned, they somehow play better sometimes. But, like, look at a game like this where it's, you know, you're just absolutely missing buckets, right? Like, you scored 82 points tonight. And granted, they were scoring in the paint. I do like that. I will appreciate the fact that they were getting to the hoop. Okay, fine, whatever. But come on, like 4 of 42 from three. Jason Tatum, you know, maybe he wouldn't have shot better than the rest of the team. Maybe something was going on there. But what I will say is Jason Tatum could at least score some more points for you in a night that you needed points. So, yeah, I mean, this looks good for Tatum. I hate that it's taking losses, but it is. Steven saying the fact that a team can play a 2-3 zone against the Celtics should tell you all you need to know. Yeah, the fact that was it last game Minnesota pulled out the 2-3 zone and the Celtics had no answer, and then the Clippers clearly watched that and was like, we can do this. We can just play a 2-3 zone on this team, and they'll just absolutely miss shots. They'll make bad plays. Like, why is this such a problem? And And it's not just like, oh, right now like, think back to how Miami beat you in the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years back. That's completely zone-based. Like, yes, Miami kind of dominated you, once Tatum tried to dunk that game winner and Bam Adebayo sent him, I feel like the series somehow was lost there. But Miami killed you in a zone, and it feels like you just still haven't learned how to beat a zone. And I bring up that game from over 2 years ago, right? Because it's like, wouldn't that have been like, oh my God, we were on the verge of getting to the NBA Finals, and poof, because of a freaking zone, we're not? Like, that's the problem. Evan saying that is less than 10%. AC saying in 1990, the Celtics scored 157 points versus the Knicks in the playoffs. They hit 1 3-pointer. It was DJ to beat the shot clock. Wow. Well, that's good. No, okay. So see, I took that actually at the first when I was saying as they somehow scored and missed a bunch of threes. But you're just saying they only hit 1 3. Like, didn't even shoot that many. Yeah, you don't like if the Celtics sort of took natural threes, then take as many threes as you want, right? But we talked about Jalen, we've talked about Jason, we've talked about other guys doing this. The Celtics just did that tonight in terms of they kind of sit there and they force the three. Like, if it's a quality three, if you had 42, people are saying 41 in the chat. I got 42 on my box score. Whatever it is, right? If you have 42 threes taken that are all quality, then okay, fine. Like, you live with it. But like, they're just forcing threes, dribble pull-ups, end of shot. Like, it just, I didn't love that. I didn't. All right, lost my place in the chat here. What do we got here? I got this. Mitch is saying, I like Brown, but he can't lead your team to title, or even be your number 2. He don't pass the ball. There's been some friction there too. Like, I don't want to get into the whole trade Jason Tatum, trade Jaylen Brown thing, but like, Al Horford seemed to have some words about maybe Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown didn't like it. Like, we're all kind of grasping at straws here with that. Like, obviously it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I think Al Horford and Jaylen Brown, if you watch them tonight, they'd be like, oh, they passed it, there was like blah blah blah. But the fact that I think what speaks to this more is that Jason Tatum seems like he's really missed right now, and two pretty bad losses, I could say. You know what I mean? I think Jaylen Brown can be a leader. I know a lot of people have said, and we've even asked it on these very streams, a lot of people have said, like, oh, Jaylen Brown, I'd keep him over Jason Tatum. I'm still definitely not on that boat at all. AC saying, time to blow it up. Lemons can't hear me. Can everyone hear me? The chat's still reacting, so I hope that's the case. Everything looks good on my end. Hear this? Evan says, I will say the ball work was very good, but we weren't hitting. I mean, there was and they hit a couple of the Grant threes. They did have some good ball movement tonight, but it didn't look fully natural yet. So those plays, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I remember this is weird. Like, 6 minutes and 12 seconds left. I think they went on like a 10-2 run at one point in the third quarter. I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, wow, they just like look like they kind of hit a switch. Like, everyone was kind of doing the right thing, making the right plays, making the right passes. Where'd that go, though? I mean, like, overall tonight, the ball movement to me wasn't up to what it should be, but there were parts in that game where I was like, okay, you know what? I can kind of get behind this. Like, I think that was a decent spurt, I should say, when they were doing that. AC says, I've never been this frustrated. I greatly dislike this team at the moment. I was texting a couple friends during the game. Shout out to Jake and Kev, and we were just like, or one of them was like, it feels like a chore to watch the Celtics. Like, where's that just inner enjoyment? You know what I mean? And I'll enjoy the Celtics if they go 0-82. Like, I just, whatever, I will. But, what's happened to that sort of, oh, the Celtics are on, you're looking forward to it all day long. This team for the past, I guess, 2 years now has kind of made that sort of fizzle out. Now, I'll love them. Like, I mean, yeah, no kidding. I'm a Celtics geek. But, like, I could see why just people that want to enjoy watching the Celtics are kind of like, oh, well, screw that. Screw that tonight. Guys, I know I'm behind in the chat. If you do want to catch up and you want to support the show, make sure to drop a super chat. Los Angeles S is saying, it's all good, brother. Next time. Is that a Clippers fan in the chat? Steven's saying, don't know what people want to blow up. You only have 2 guys worth literally anything, maybe 3, with Rob getting any value from anything else in this roster. I'm sure when people say blow it up, I think, and like AC said, I think that probably just means like figure it out, absolutely restart type of thing. Because blow it up, I could see what you mean there, Steven. Like, blow it up. It's like, okay, you'd have to trade. Like, when we say blow it up, are we really talking trading Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and whatever? Because that's kind of blowing it up. Like, to me, you don't need to send a nuclear missile at the Celtics team, but someone chucking a hand grenade in there wouldn't hurt right now. You know, like, and that's the hard part. That's where it gets tricky, Steven, with like, okay, well, then what can you do? Because you can't really do much. Like, you're going to trade Smart, Robert Williams, maybe young guys some team wants, like, but the Celtics don't have much to offer right now, unless they do want to truly tear it down and say, okay, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, one of you guys are going, which I don't know if we want to be there yet. Like, it's kind of, it's weird. Like, no kidding, we're looking at these bad losses, but to me, it's more or less like I said, not a nuclear bomb, but like trade deadline comes, offseason comes, do something. Trade value to get value type of thing. Which I would say, again, is like a Time Lord, Marcus Smart, anything like that. Shout out to Joseph for subscribing there. Anything like that. You know what I mean? It's not like a true blow it up. Rocky saying Celtics loss really hurt. Evan saying Grant was 2 of 3. Ryan saying, I don't know why I continue to watch this dog shit team. Rocky saying couldn't hit the 3 today. Evan saying Celtics ball movement was very good. I think at times it was very good. But then there was times too when they needed a bucket and they got right back to it. But I will give it credit. I don't want to diminish, I guess, what they did in terms of ball movement tonight, because they did have some decent, you know, like I said, spurts of ball movement that we really haven't even seen like this season. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there was times this game where it was like, you know, all 5 guys touched it, a couple guys touched it twice, and I'm like, that's 7 passes. So, yeah, I can give you that, Evan, but I do still think when they needed some big buckets, or they needed, I'll say this is how I would just summarize it. When they had a must-score type of possession, or they just made a big stop and a huge momentum chance now, right? It's like they just defaulted back to what they'd been doing. Jaylen Brown would get it, take 2 huge steps in the lane, hope for contact, and if he didn't, they didn't call a foul, and we're going the other way. You know what I mean? Mitch saying, I'd rather have Taco and Luke Cornett than Romeo Langford. Rocky saying they need more offense. XV3 saying the best case scenario, we get a high draft pick along with the need to retool this roster from the ground up. I will say this, though. I'm down, but I think that, like, you get another young guy on this team and you're still kind of like, oh, boy, what do we do now? Like, this team has plenty of youth. And we don't utilize, we don't play, we don't try these guys out, right? So I do see, like, there's benefit in having a decent draft pick, but do you want another young guy, or are you using that for value? I don't know, you know? Greg says, I don't understand signing these guys like Joe Johnson and Alfred Camino if they're just going to bench ride when we shoot as bad as we did. Ime is awful. I don't care what we do with him now. He stinks. It is true. So, like I had said, I'm kind of on the side of, okay, you know, go out and get these veteran guys because, you know, they've been there before. Maybe they can get in young players' ears and whatnot, right? But at the same time, you're getting these guys and you only have them for a limited amount of time. And in a game like this where you just cannot do anything right, what's the harm in playing them or trying to play them or saying, screw it, Joe Johnson, go take a shot. Maybe it'll go in, maybe it'll be fun, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if you are having that bad of a shooting night, you should look into the 4th row or look into the balcony seats and say, hey, you double-fisting beers, can you come down here and try and hit a 3? Because that's what the Celtics needed tonight. Anyone in that arena could have hit a 3 as well as the Celtics hit 3s tonight. Right? Like the guy that says, Jaylen Brown, that guy should have hopped in the court and announced his own 3 going in because he had just as good of a chance to hit a 3 tonight. It's crazy. But I agree with it, Greg. Like, why do you get a guy like Joe Johnson if he's not going to play at all? Eric saying the 3 points lost us the game, just hit 5 more out of 22. Yeah, the Celtics could have shot, if they shot 25% tonight, which would have been 6 more 3s, right? 6 more 3s is 18, like, 25% still stinks. Still stinks. I don't know if that math was correct. I did it pretty quickly, but I'm going to stand by it. Evan saying, I'm very encouraged. We just shoot very poorly. I'm still saying trade Tatum. AC saying, even with a full squad, they aren't good enough to beat elite teams. I hate to say it, but this should be impetus for Stevens to make a big change. I hope it is. I hope that it is sort of like a, hey, something needs to change. Something needs to change. And I do assume, just knowing you, AC, you mean like a, not Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown necessarily, but big in terms of like, okay, Robert Williams maybe, which I hate to think about because he does have such potential, or Marcus Smart I hate to think about because he's been like the, you know, the unconfirmed type captain, heart and soul of the team, like that type of thing. Steven saying the ball moving narrative has to stop after tonight. You don't have guys that can score in multiple ways. You're not going to win this league. 82 points is sad. Phoenix saying, are the Celtics a playoff team? I haven't seen anything like this. I mean, they're doing their damn sure to work themselves out of the playoffs. They're the 10 seed right now, and honestly, they'd have to play Charlotte, Washington, the Knicks, and that sort of play-in area, and all three of those teams can beat you in a one-game play-in right now. Now, I will say, COVID, injuries, all that, whatever, it's fair. You guys know if you tune in all the time or tuned in for years now, I say, I can't take the wait till we're healthy argument because I've been waiting for them to be healthy since, I don't know, 2015 type of thing. But you are literally, you're tied, actually. They are tied with the Atlanta Hawks for being out of the playoffs here. Mitch saying, would you still trade Tatum? I wouldn't yet. Phoenix says, the easiest way to bust a zone is shooting. This team cannot buy a shot. Yeah, or, so let me say this. Coach Ev for a second, right? So the easiest way to break a zone is to shoot. And if you're making your shots, then that's great. That's true. They're not going to stay in a 2-3 zone if you're making shots. How about if you realize, okay, we're not making these shots, let's try and get a guy at the foul line. Let's go high-low. You know, you can break a zone from the inside out, too. And it's like the Celtics just think they're still playing against man-to-man. Or they will just be like, oh, you can only go outside in against a zone. You know, like, and I know this has nothing to do with them losing or winning tonight, but, like, Marcus Smart's really good at that. He'll get to the foul line, get the ball, and you get that. The zone has to collapse on you. It doesn't always end in a 3. It can end on an easy bucket. Steven saying, good point against the zone against Miami. Shooting around the Jays hasn't been addressed. It hasn't. I've said that all year too, right? It's like, yeah, we got Dennis Schroeder. We got Al Horford. Brought back Cantor. You made off-season moves. There's one void that you really didn't even try and fill. Click says 9% from 3 ACs. The Celtics destroyed the Clippers in the paint, then decided to stop attacking. All right, I got to skip in the chat here, guys. I know I'm so far behind. Kellen saying this team does not, so if I missed your chat, sorry, you guys can ask it again. If you do want to get your chat or your shout out right away, make sure to drop a super chat. Kellen says this team does not need to blow it up. They need a reboot. Try and swap out the pieces you have around Tatum and Brown. So that is, I think, where we can land in sort of a legitimate smart mindset, right? Like you don't necessarily want to say, okay, screw it, one of Tatum or Brown are going out the door, because as much as we can say they're not playing well or they're underwhelming or whatever you want to say, right? They are two of the brightest stars in today's league, whether we don't like them or like them on any given night. So trading them is a huge decision. But trying to build around them and make some risky moves, trading Marcus Smart or something like that, it might be the time to do that, because what else are you going to do? Steven saying Celtics are in a position because instead of trading for talent, they draft PP, Langford, and Neesmith. They really needed one of them. Yeah, it's true. I mean, think about it. All those trade deadlines that Danny Ainge stood pat at. And that's the thing, too. That's where you kind of lose if you trade Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Like, they've invested not just the money, not just the sort of the confidence in these guys, but they've waited patiently for these guys. If you lose or trade Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, all of a sudden, all those years that Danny Ainge now spent waiting literally is going to blow up in your face. So I think you still have to try and scratch away and claw and hope that Tatum and Brown work out here. NC saying Ime needs to shake up his rotation right now. I agree. Ryan saying I see no difference from last year. Coach Brad to team to this year. Ime coach team. Same exact bad habits and tendencies. Yeah, and in fact, you guys know that I used to rag on Brad Stevens and I wanted someone with fire. And not, I shouldn't say fire. I want someone engaged in the game. When I say that, people think like Nick Nurse or Bobby Knight. No, I want someone that's engaged in the game, right? Ime said that he was. People said he was. I thought he was going to be. He ain't. He isn't. Like, he's not as engaged as I thought he would be, as I would want him to be, or as I feel like we were led to believe he would be. At least Brad Stevens was that X's and O's kind of genius, and I used to rag on Brad Stevens, right, for sitting there being like, that's nice. Okay. All Ime does is goes, okay, that's nice. Like, he doesn't just get fired up either. So I don't know. I need some engagement there. I'm not ready to just be like, oh, screw the, like, I think that this team, and I think that's the point of the comment too. Like, I think that this team has some player personnel to address before it's like a coach's problem. Because you could put any coach on this team right now, I think they'd still have problems. Maybe they get marginally better, but damn. Steven says, does Ime even call any plays? I genuinely don't see it. I feel like he just says, hey, Jalen, Jason, do what you want. Graham says, I think the Celtics need to get Harrison Barnes. He'd fix everything wrong with his team. That would be nice. He says, or Ben Simmons. You ready to give up on Tatum and try and get Cat and Simmons and Brown to play together? I mean, if you could tell me you're getting Karl Anthony Towns and Ben Simmons, then maybe, but I don't know how, I really don't know how likely that is, AC says, serious question. Do we believe Jalen and Jason can lead a team? I know they're young, but I do question it a bit. Lots of experience between them, and they aren't motivating their teammates. So that's the thing. I don't know how many more seasons you can kind of last thinking that. But as of right now, I'm still willing to bet, I guess, to gamble on the fact that they can, because they are still young. Like, that is a fact. So to answer that question, AC, yes, I think that they can because they're so young. But if for whatever reason they stay here, for years and years and years, and it's still the same problem, then our writing's on the wall. No, these guys aren't leaders. But I will at least pump the brakes there until they are, I don't know, a couple years from now or something like that. They're still young. If they had a real star veteran on their team, that's still gonna be the guy, the leader. You know what I mean? Until you can picture no one leading Jason Tatum or no one leading Jaylen Brown, then you can still at least hold on and cling on, I should say, to the hope that they'll be a leader, because I still think that they could be mentored by someone or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Looney says, you think being a Boston Celtics fan is hard? I'm a Pelicans fan through and through. That is tough, but hey, I do think there's something to, now I wouldn't trade it for the world. Don't get me wrong, Loney. I don't know if it's Looney or Loney. But I will say, it's there's something to be inspired about with the Pelicans, with young teams, getting Zion. I don't know what his situation is, all that, right? The Celtics have this expectation set where, anything short of conference finals or anything like that, it feels like a huge loss. So I don't know. Maybe it'd be nice to swap shoes for a week and just see how it is with the non-hardcore expectations. All right, I'm skipping ahead just a bit in the chat again. NC saying, you never trade a 24 and 25-year-old. You can change a team around them and get actual shooters. Look at the Hawks. They have Bogdanovich, Herter, and Gallinari, Hunter, etc. That's true. Guy like Luke Kennard. You're telling me that the Celtics in no way, shape, or form could get Luke Kennard? Why is that so unattainable to them? They just played him tonight. A guy like that I would love here. Counselin, this is what you should realistically see from what this Celtics team is. Floating around 500 all year, Celtics are going to try and make their splash this offseason. Hate the strategy, but it is what it is. I think so too. My expectations are no longer 3 seed, 4 seed like they were to start the year. I was wrong. I was a dummy about that. A dummy about it. But I'll give myself one of those bad boys. I got lost in the sauce of they made moves, and then also Ime Udoka comes in and, every game's gonna be a war, and we have that mentality, blah, blah, blah. Ime Udoka is just Brad Stevens without the X's and O's expertise. And yes, it's still early for him. I'm not gonna jump down his throat yet. I think that this team, the players have problems. But he hasn't really, I think that anyone in this chat right now can probably coach a sub 500 basketball team, right? Graham says, I think we're just as bad as the Lakers. Phoenix saying, you cannot drop games like this. How deep the East is. Charlotte, Cleveland, Toronto, Philly, New York, Washington, and Atlanta. I just said those cities so fast are all in the play-in convo. They can all beat them in one game. I agree. Leonard saying, we need to move the guys around JT and JB. Yeah, at what point do you just say, fine, let's try something here. You know what I mean? Let's try Smart for whoever. Let's try Robert Williams for whoever in terms of a trade. This isn't working, so I don't know how long we're gonna wait. Ronnie saying, told you yesterday this team's trash. Celtics need a heart doctor. NC saying the offseason will be interesting. Be Smooth checking in with the fire emojis. What is going on to Be Smooth? I want to give Be Smooth the shout out here. Completely saying, you know what? We're doing something different on the channel over there. So guys, go sub to Be Smooth Entertainment and check out the podcast we just did with him, and Jags to Riches. They brought me on their show, and I had a great time Christmas Eve morning. So go check out Be Smooth Entertainment. A lot coming from his channel, as he says in that stream. AC saying, Tatum goes nowhere. I love Jalen, but it seems like these two are feeling like Pierce and Walker. Yeah, I can get that vibe where it's these are so good, you want them. That's the thing too, you want them to be so good together, but it's how long do we wait? Steven says, how can Jay's leadership be questions with the rosters it has had being a duo? Please look at the supporting cast for the last 3 years. That's what my hesitation is. It can be questioned because they seem to be older and more mature than they are based on their, playoff experience and whatnot. But I'm looking at it as two sub-25 type guys that are like, okay, well, I hate to say it, like, I know we want championship stuff, but I'm willing to be more patient with them. So I agree with that. I just think that, we could get to a point where they're not leaders, but I don't want to jump there yet. Mitch saying they need a better roster, and like I said, Wick needs to not be cheap and take risks with the roster, for sure. Ronnie saying Boston couldn't protect a child from catching a cold. AC saying, where was Aaron Nesmith? He's sick, right? He's out. NC saying Smart and Langford for Karis LeVert, Schroeder and a first-round pick for DeJounte Murray to fit to TPE. Have a lineup of Murray, LeVert, Brown, Tatum. I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't know if you're getting that for Dennis Schroeder, though. I wish you would, but I think they're gonna have a tough time trading Dennis Schroeder just because no team's gonna want to give you anything. Like, they know that they're either going to have to pay him a boatload at the end of the year or they'll just wait till the end of the year to get him. Looney saying lost CP3 and AD and Zion can't get on the court. Graham saying, I think the Celtics need to do with Miami-Dade, bring a lot of veterans around these young, what Miami did. Yeah, so that's the thing. But also, the Miami has hit on their draft picks too, right? So you're right. Like, I get me some of these veterans and whatnot. But Miami hit on Tyler Hero, getting Duncan Robinson. Going out and getting Duncan Robinson, I should say. Bam Adebayo, like, they've hit on their drafting too, which is probably why they're now in this position and the Celtics aren't. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge difference too. Imagine if Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, Aaron Nesmith, Peyton Pritchard were all so good. Our bench would not be short. We'd have two shooters, Pritchard, Nesmith, like, it would be a lot better, but those draft picks haven't hit. Guys, I see Gear in the chat saying, if you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to drop a like. Please drop a like if you guys are watching as well. And, if you don't like, if you don't like the stream right now, I was going to say you hate the Celtics, but you guys might hate the Celtics. But please like the stream. There's plenty more people in here than we do have with likes as of right now. So make sure to drop a like on the stream. Graham saying the problem is we don't know if Jason Tatum could be the best player on our team, and Jaylen Brown we have too. AC saying it just feels like the Celtics are regressing, and that concerns me. The future's still bright, but that bulb is dimming. That's I can't really pick that apart. I think that's fair. Ray saying it's the players and the dynamics. Two coaches, nothing has changed. Yup, players and the dynamic of the team. Yeah, and sure, you bring in some sort of absolute head honcho type coach. Like, sure, you bring in a bunch of a whole new coaching staff that's like a crazy sort of change the culture type coach, which I thought Udoka would be. That can work, and it can change something. I will admit that. But I don't know if Udoka's the guy now. Like, I don't think he's that guy, pal. Ronnie saying, keep an eye on the pinned comment, guys. Yeah, shout out to my picks videos I do every day. Ricky saying, if Brooklyn can get a big superstar 3 when we had all their picks, we should be able to make moves. We can't continue to be the Boston Red Claws. When you guys think of it, think of this. Think of this. Who would have thought that when we got all those picks and it turned into Tatum and Brown and, all the glitz and glamour, we have all these picks and we ransacked Brooklyn. We traded them, Peter Garnett, like, oh, we did everything. Oh my God, laughing stock of the league, Brooklyn Nets. Who looks like they're going to win a championship first? Who looks like they're going to win a championship first? Less than, 10 years later, Brooklyn's going to win a championship, and I don't know if I'm confident saying that in the Celtics after that. Like, that's crazy to me. That should be crazy to you guys. Think about it. For years and years and years, it was like, look at how we ripped off the Nets. And I get it. Their guys aren't tied to those. Like, that trade was technically a fleece deal, right? But who cares in the long run? You think the Nets fans or anyone associated with the Nets are like, damn, I can't believe we made that trade. No. Evan saying Tatum holds the ball too much, but look at the ball work and get into the ball inside. We're still in this game. We need to set the precedent of good ball work and driving to the basket. I mean, yeah, and especially when you're not shooting, right? AC saying the Celtics bench in 1988 was geriatric. Artis Gilmore, Jim Paxson, Fred Roberts, Mark Akers, and today's bench any better? No. So maybe it is just that dynamic. Evan saying bring in Becky Hammond. Loney saying league is super competitive. It takes luck on top of that. That's sure. AC saying we need Sam Presti. Greg saying what would you leave first and pick? What would you see leave first and pick to leave rather than the Celtics stay longer? Rather than stay with the Celtics Tatum. Okay. Who would I rather see leave and who would I rather stay? Right? Is that I've clearly reached the point where I can't read. But I would rather Tatum stay. I would. I think that no kidding. Like Jaylen Brown, maybe when it's all said and done, could be a better player. But I think Jason Tatum right now still is the obvious answer. But I think it's been a debatable point now for longer than I would have thought. All right, a few more comments, guys. I'm going to wrap up things around here. Steven saying the NBA is about, the NBA is about fit. You don't trade your elite players, sign and trade for supplementary players. The same thing the Celtics fans are saying about the Jays, the same things Bucks fans said about Giannis. Fair. What player would I pick to leave? Jaylen Brown. That's what it is, Greg. Kellen saying, these are just growing pains. We're going to have to get through with Brown and Tatum. Look at how it took Pierce to finally win. But so I will. What if it was the Pierce and Walker? What if that's the situation? Like, what it took Pierce to finally win was teaming up with other guys. Brad was handed Ainge's mess and it's going to take him a minute to clean it up. I think that's fair. Totally. Loney saying, I keep saying Looney. I'm thinking of Kevon Looney on the Warriors, right? So, Loney, I'm botching your name, but you might just be stuck with Looney right now. Your daily picks is how I found you. Keep it up. I like watching people's opinions on the spreads. Yeah, I mean, hey, and I'm just, I love doing those videos too every single morning. We have fun with it, and everything like that. So I appreciate you, man. Evan saying, I will say Peyton Pritchard played well. He didn't shoot well, but who did tonight? But I can get behind that. Peyton Pritchard looked comfortable. He looked like he played well. He played, where do we got here? Peyton Pritchard played 34 minutes. I'm okay with that. AC saying, I was impressed that you read geriatric artist Gilmore. The Celtics need vets to help the Jays. I was hoping it would be Horford, and he has helped, and he has looked good, but there seems like there's friction now too. Al Horford had that little quote in the press conference, like, we need to look in the mirror or something like that, and then Jaylen Brown was like, no, we don't. So it's a little weird. Graham is saying, it's not a coincidence that Danny Ainge went to the Jazz. Don't be surprised to see Jaylen Brown on the Jazz and Brad Stevens. I'm just saying. For what? Like a Donovan? That sounds kind of nice. Like, I don't know how it would work or anything like that, but I would not be totally opposed to it. Let's see. Evan says, check your DMs. I don't got any DMs here. Message requests. Gotcha, Evan. Gotcha. Kellen saying, let Brad do his thing with a full season, see what he can do. I still believe Beal is on the way. I mean, and Bradley Beal doesn't even seem to be having like the greatest of year now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I think they need something to switch it up. Like, I could picture Bradley Beal on this team helping, right? Who wouldn't? Greg saying, not have you picking who would leave. Would Jaylen or Tatum themselves want to pick? All right, I got to figure this one out, Greg. Who would leave? Who would you? Greg, why are you confusing the hell out of me? Would Jaylen Brown or Tatum themselves would pick to leave Boston first or go somewhere else if we keep stinking? You still okay? Yes, last stream is not over. Okay, I got you. So who do I think would want to leave first? Jason Tatum. So if that's what you're asking, I get that. Jason Tatum strikes me as a let me go to LA type guy before Jaylen Brown would. Okay? Anthony saying tank for assets. Evan saying maybe we'll grab beer sometime at said bar. All right, let's do it. Loney saying it's Lonnie. Okay, there we go. See, it took me all stream to go through every single word that started with L to get to your name. I got it, Lonnie, and I'll remember that. But all right, guys, we are going to wrap up the stream for tonight. One last womp womp for the Celtics. But hopefully we can turn this thing around. I don't know if we're gonna be rolling with a New Year's Eve stream. Early game, we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment. But I'll catch you guys in the next stream, and hopefully we're talking some dubs pretty soon. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if you should believe it, but hey, let's see it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.